Welcome to the Plato Paradigm, a paradigm shift in reading Plato's dialogues. Episode 88, Meno 75, B to D. Socrates is about to explain what shape is, because it's worth doing if Meno will then say what virtue is. This is supposed to be an example of how to explain a general concept. It's not clear to me how a definition of shape would help Meno to define virtue, and it's not clear that we're talking about shape anyway. Socrates has been talking about the straight and the curved or round, which is not really shape. The curved and the round are elements of shape, but not examples of shape. Even so, Socrates says, "Ferede, pero methasoi pen tiesti schema." Come now, let us try to tell you what shape is. He uses the formula of telling, which Meno likes. This is the same verb that Meno used at the beginning of the dialogue. Can you tell me? This is something Meno has learned from Gorgias. This is how to appear to be wise, by telling people what things are. And Socrates here is using that formula. It doesn't mean that Socrates himself thinks that this is the way to learn anything. We may even suspect that after this, Meno will be able to say to other people back home that Socrates said that shape is such and such, without necessarily understanding what Socrates was saying. Socrates does now add something which Gorgias wouldn't. Skopeun e tode apodeche auto enai. See then whether you accept that this is it. The verb to see or observe, skopo, is cognate with skeptikos, with being a skeptic, asking questions, being critical. Most sophists who practice rhetoric would prefer that their audience didn't ask questions. It's enough to impress the audience. We don't need them asking questions and finding fault with what has been said. That is what Socrates does. Esto gardehi min tuto schema, ho monon ton onton tun chane chromati ae ehepomenon. Let this be for us shape, the only thing of things which are, which happens always to follow colour. The things which are, taonta, are commonly associated with Plato's ideas, but it's unusual to have one idea following another idea, if indeed shape is an idea and colour is an idea. When it comes to ideas, it's also redundant to talk about always. There is no time where there are ideas. The fact is that shape always follows colour in particular things. We've already seen that for Meno, anything we can talk about must be a thing, and a thing must exist. He's already talked about virtue in this way. Since Socrates is talking to Meno, he's using Meno's terminology, Meno's language, and we should not impose on whatever Socrates says some theory which Platonists have decided to impose on Plato. All Socrates is saying here is that the only thing which ever follows colour all the time is shape. That's it. It's like saying where there is colour, there is shape. Does this define shape? Not really, but it delimits shape. We have an idea of where shape may be found. It may be found with colour. We don't know from this answer why that is, or what shape itself is. we may guess that Socrates has given a deliberately bad answer so that Meno can practice his critical thinking and come up with some problems. Ikanosoi e alos pos zetes, ego gar kan hutos agapoen e moi areten epois. Has it been answered sufficiently for you? Or are you searching for it to be answered some other way? For I would be happy this way if you told me virtue. The first part of this sentence had adverbs without a verb, which I supplied as answered, assuming that answered is the most appropriate verb here. Without the verb we have sufficiently for you, or in some other way are you searching? Socrates obviously doesn't mean to ask whether Meno is searching in some other way. He's asking whether Meno is expecting this to be answered in some other way. Incidentally, this sows the seeds for Meno to require yet another answer about shape. Socrates guarantees that Meno won't accept this answer because he immediately ties it to Meno's obligation to tell him about virtue. Meno's reaction, therefore, is not all that surprising. Ala tu toge euethes, O Socrates, pos leges. But this is silly, Socrates. How do you mean? Otis schema pu estin kataton son logon ho ae chroa hepetai, eien, eidede ten chroan tisme phae edenai, ala hos autos aporoi hos per peritus schematos, tian oiesoi apokekristai. That shape, according to your argument, is that which always follows colour. By the way, Meno uses chroa where Socrates used chroma. These are two versions of the word for colour. Possibly Plato is making Meno sound Thessalian. I'm not sure about that, but it's a possibility. Well then, if someone were to say that he doesn't know what colour is, but is as perplexed about it as about shape, what do you think has been answered by you? In a way, Meno has made a good point, and all definitions are silly, given that the definitions contain words which we may also not understand, in addition to the definiendum. The verb used by Meno to say that this person may have a problem understanding the words being used here is aporeo, and this is cognate with the noun aporia, and Meno is the first in this dialogue to have used both the noun and the verb. He had used the noun aporia in the generous answer he gave to the question, what is virtue, ending up saying that there would be no aporia in saying what virtue is. Aporia is, for Meno, a problem, and he's saying there's no problem giving answers about what virtue is. And now he's saying that someone could have a problem understanding colour, in which case the answer about shape would have no effect on him. He just wouldn't know what shape is because he doesn't know what colour is. He has a problem. Platonic aporia is usually construed to be more like an inability to answer. This would be inappropriate here. The person simply has a problem understanding what colour is, and therefore doesn't understand the answer about shape. Socrates takes this objection seriously. Tale the egoge. I, for my part, have answered the truth. Is it true that shape always follows colour? We should never accept anything Socrates says at face value. Kai men geton sophontis kai eristikon te kai agonistikon ho eromenos poiman auto hoti moimen eretai edeme orthos lego son ergon lambanen logon kai elenchen. And if the speaker were one of the experts in euristics or in competitive speech, I would say to him, it has been said by me, if I say something not correctly, it's your job to take up the argument and refute, or at least examine. The verb can be either refute or examine, elenchen. We've already seen in Hippias Minor, Hippias Major, the Republic, not so much in Euthyphro, that eristics is an important method of debate in the ancient world, especially in Athens. Socrates here provides an alternative term to eristics, and that is agonistics. Agon is a competition, so he's showing that eristics is to do with competing. As he says, if this were eristics, he has already given his answer, and it is up to the opponent to refute or at least examine what he has said. In fact, Meno's answer could have been treated as an eristic refutation. Although it's a very powerful refutation, it could be used for any answer. How your answer is stupid, because how does it answer anything if the person you're trying to explain something to doesn't understand the words you use in your explanation? Here, however, Socrates raises eristics just in order to oppose that to dialectic. Eidehos perigotikai su noni philoi ontes bulointo aleilois dialegesthai, de praoteron poskai dialecticoteron apokrinesthai. But if, as you and I, now being friends, wish to converse between ourselves, it is necessary to answer more gently in some way and more dialectically. Esti deisos to dialecticoteron me monon tale theapokrinesthai, ala kai diekenon honan prosobologe denai ho erotomenos. Perhaps more dialectically means to answer not only the truth, but through those which the one being asked agrees to know. In other words, use terms in the answer which are agreed to be comprehensible. Next time we'll see how this is put to the test.